day 5 of this project. It's now Friday, Christ alive. It's what's the time? 23:22. I haven't been thinking about how far behind I am. Hello everyone, my name is Ollie, you are watching Void Space Alpha, and one of the things that I've been super passionate about for probably the last 10 years or so, definitely more so in the last 5 years, is the crazy world of Warhammer, specifically 30k, but I've obviously dipped my toe into some 40k as well, which brings us on to this project. So over the next few days, I'm going to be painting up what will be the start of a collection that will hopefully be an entire company of Dark Angels, with a little bit of representation from the Deathwing and the Raven Wing as well. So the reason that I'm doing this project is to try and push myself to learn new techniques, new styles, new ways of doing things, and use new 3D printed parts, and just generally just try and up my hobby game. So that's what you're going to see, is that journey. For myself, let's go through what we actually own at this stage, and it is a Combat Patrol Raven Guard, which is, you know, it's not terrible because everything in it is usable, which is why I got it. The Jump Pack Captain is going to be our captain of the chapter. It's got an Invictus War suit, which is going to be cool. We've got 5 Jump Pack Intercessors, got 10 Infiltrators. Let's crack it open. Not going to need those, because we've got these incredibly detailed 3D printed bases, and the first thing that we're going to assemble is the Jump Pack Captain. Definitely going to replace the sword, and we're going to replace the head and the jump pack. Clear up these joins with our hobby knife. That's our body. Definitely going to need this leg. Plasma pistol, sword, arm. Let's get this arm off. So the one I'm going to replace it with is going to be one of these power swords that I've 3D printed. It's got a really cool purity seal on it, nice insignia that can be painted up. Goodbye, chainsword. I'm going to have to switch to the super glue. Just going to let that dry for a second whilst we pop on the plasma arm. I'm going to chop this off. And the reason we're not going to use that is I've got this beautiful 40mm base, and I think he'll look cool just jumping off of there. Now I've got a selection of heads, but I have just noticed actually there's a small gap where he's missing something, and the thing that he's missing is his little shield, and there is his power sword. Some of these have got quite egregious mold lines. Right, now it's time to just see what parts fit with what. That's incredible beginner's luck. Those two parts go together perfectly. Those ones don't seem to. Those two do. I wonder if this is faster than using the numbered instructions, just dry fitting every piece, throwing it together. By not following the instructions, it's also given me the flexibility to decide which one's the sergeant, which one's in the coolest pose. 5 bodies. Bosh, look at that. We just got the legs. That looks like it fits. It's 5 bodies. That one is standing out to me as being the more sergeant-y one. Can't have the same sword as the captain. It's slightly different. It hasn't got a purity seal on it. We can see on here that that hand now fits into that arm. So we have just changed over our original power sword for this one here. Let's get their pistols on. I don't know whether or not just to go for the normal helmets or whether to use some of the winged helmets, and I kind of want to see how they look. Oh, they look badass as fuck. Okay, yeah. God, customization's fun, isn't it? Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at all these like metallic wings and picked out 5 or so random shoulder pads, crosses on them that look pretty cool. Then I've got these 2 lion ones as well. Now, I think the 2 lion ones are going to go on the sergeants. 1 custom shoulder pad for each of these guys, but the other one can just be the standard shoulder pad. Look at that. I might have to pin that one. I've always been intimidated by that. This is why I'm doing this army project, push myself, figure out new hobby tricks and try new stuff. I've just pinned my first model. They're definitely going to have to lose their tactical rocks, that's for sure. I'm going to drill them so that we can glue them to their pins and paint them. Everything's standard apart from the shoulder pads, the sword and the backpack and the helmet. Right, well, I suppose it's worth a quick point out of how we're building these intercessors in terms of their customizable bits. All of the standard Battle Brothers are going to just look like standard Battle Brothers, but I do want there to be a few things. So, as being Dark Angels, so you've got these hooded heads that you can see here, and I've got these sculpted backpacks with the lion sculpted above the vents. I'm going to get 10 of these built now, and we'll see where we are. So it's gone midnight. So I thought we'd have a quick recap at what we've managed to build this evening. So first of all, we've got our jump captain, and yes, I have glued his head on and I've glued him to his base. Jump pack intercessors, and I quite like the jump packs on these, and I really like the custom bits as well. Loving the sergeant with his 2 decorated pauldrons, which is cool. So we've got 5 of those. Here are the other 3. 10 of the infiltrators. These have just been glued directly to their bases. And I am this far through an Invictus Warsuit. Day 2, I have just finished work for the day, eaten dinner with the family, taken the dog for a walk, and now I've got some actual hobby time to get stuck back in. And I'm really hoping you're gonna like this. This is our Invictus Tactical Warsuit. Now he's on another one of these, what are they, 80 mil I think this one is, or it might be a 90 mil, not entirely sure. Sculpted base with the ruin and the wood and what have you. Bit of a pain in the ass to build because I had to build it in sections and kind of get the leg poses correct. You can see here that I've articulated the toe of this foot so that he's actually treading through the rubble, which I think looks pretty cool. The next stage of production here this evening is going to be to get down the prime coats. Now, I'm gonna go for a jet black over absolutely everything, and then I'm gonna hit it with Color Forge. Renegade Green is gonna be my de facto spray primer. So yeah, there's plenty of people who can show you how to prime models on YouTube. One of the things you might want to bear in mind is to wear gloves and not use a comically oversized piece of wood to glue your models to. It's going to be just as easy to paint them on the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime these 4 bases here black now, and I'm just going to glue them to the bases and take it from there, I think. I think the beginning phases of a project are when you get most excited because it's the stage where you can start transforming what you've got in your mind into an actual project. Everything assembled and primed now, which is pretty exciting. I have glued everything to the base. This is the one I'm most chuffed with. It's got the most flamboyant parts on it. The captain looks pretty cool, the jump pack captain. How many models are we talking about here? There's 10 infiltrators, so that's 10. We've got 5 jump intercessors, so that's 15, plus the captain 16, plus the Invictus Warsuit is 17. 17 models. One thing to note is you'll probably notice throughout this video that I started with the flamboyant heads on the jump intercessors, but I decided to change them to the normal battle line heads. Yeah, so getting the base colors down is, again, one of the most enjoyable parts of this, and the only thing that makes it feel like a chore is the scale at which you commit to this. And 17 models for a couple of hours each night is probably quite a lot when you're trying to get it done in a week. And yeah, just the experimenting on this project is super fun. You'll see here I've got a couple of colors on the table that I'm experimenting with, edge highlights. And yeah, you learn more about that as you get further into the video. So a quick recap on yesterday. I ended up painting in all of the black areas, painted in all the armor joins and the backpack straps and what have you. Before I turned the camera off last night, popped on another layer of white. Anyone that's got a power sword, which is 2 models, I've just popped on a flat coat of white. So I've given everything 1 coat of white on this chap. Just gonna try and dot in their eyelids as well. Doing my best to be as neat as I can to minimize the amount of cleanup I have to do. I'd be interested to know what your recommendations are on the best start collecting box for a Space Marine force and your reasons as to why. Worst case scenario, that's going to be the final pass of white for today. I need to finish getting these black areas on everything, and then even better than that, moving on to another colour today. Maybe the gold or the silver, I don't know, but we need to move on to something. So I'm going to do that now. Let's crack on. I'm going to paint in all of the teeth on the chainswords because I think they're going to look better if they're highlighted up with the silver as opposed to just being silver. I also paint the little chainsword engine. The body of the chainsword is going to be in red. And when it comes to pipes, I'm just doing all of the piping on the jump pack in black. On to the next part. Keeping your motivation and working through this project is going to be difficult, so I advise having some cool YouTube stuff to watch in the background, and I'll share my favourite links down below. So it is technically 3 minutes past 12 now, so this is going to be the last bit of recording you guys see for day 3. It's starting to catch up with me now. I'm pretty tired. Dedicate a couple of hours after work every day to try and get this done, and it's meant to be a hobby. Why do we all gamify this and set ourselves ridiculous deadlines of trying to get a start collecting box done in a week and then trying to do an entire company of Dark Angels? But hey, here we are. I think the gold has gone on nicely, right? Tidy up to do now on every model, and I'm having to remind myself that I need to trust in the process. They're starting to look more put together. I mean, if tomorrow I do the red, that doesn't leave me a lot of time to do all the other stuff that I need to do. And there's going to be a lot of red. There's going to be a lot of weapon accents in red. The only gold iconography on the infiltrators is the chest emblem, which I didn't really have a choice but to overspill on it, but I'm going to go in again with some Caliban green and tidy up the edges. And then just the 2 lions on the backpack in gold. I'll do the underneath vents in lead belcher or an equivalent silver, whatever I have on hand. So yeah, this is the midpoint of the project. This is inevitably a trough. The beginning is a peak and the rush to the end is hopefully going to be a peak. And what does that mean for me? It means tomorrow's going to be an uphill struggle. I thought I'd get up a couple of hours early and crack on with day 4 before I have a full work day ahead of me. The current strategy is to ignore all of the tidy up that I need to do on various different colours and just get the base colours down. So let's crack open some lead belcher. It's been a pretty productive couple of hours this morning. I managed to get a tiny bit of silver onto the Invictus Warsuit, but I got all of the silver on all of the other models. Next, I am going to finish the Invictus Warsuit silver, and if I can get the red on, I think these guys will start coming together. I had a little sort of mini breakdown last night because I was worried with the amount of progress I was making. I had to remind myself that this is actually meant to be fun. And I'm not trying to do something to a deadline, I'm actually trying to do something to a level of quality that's better than I usually do. It's taken me until about 7:30 in the evening to get all the silver just on this Invictus Warsuit, and it's currently looking like a paint my first ever Space Marine thing. I just realised there's a part there I still haven't actually finished. Silver's done. If I get any more done today, I want to start the red. And boy, did I hammer out that red. It is midnight now, and all of the red areas are done. I'm definitely not going to get this project done by the end of the day tomorrow. This is not going to be a 5-day project because I still have the Rakkar Flesh to do, the Gawthor Brown to do, all of the tidy up to do, and then all of the edge highlights in all of the different colours. On all the green armour we've got an edge highlight, on all of the gold we've got an edge highlight of Gehenna's gold, on all of the red we've got an edge highlight of Screamer Pink. On all of the Gawthor Brown, we've got a highlight of Baneblade Browns. Yeah, very unlikely to get that all done in a day. Plus we've got the wash stage, plus we've got the basing to do. Yeah, it's just very, very unlikely. Motivation for the project's picked up a little bit just because these guys are actually starting to look like Dark Angels now. Yeah, that's where we're at. So look, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll see you guys on... Yeah, the story wouldn't really make sense unless I kind of explained the fact that day 5 of this project, it's now Friday, Christ alive, it's what's the time, 23:22. Yeah, you probably got the idea that I'm doing this around my day job as well, and I just ran out of time today. Having a bit of a break is useful because I haven't been thinking about it as much today, which means I haven't been thinking about how far behind I am, which is nice. I did manage to pick up some paints that were very much needed. So I got the Moot Green, which is allegedly the highlight, the edge highlight colour for these guys. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try. And then I'm going to make my own wash by mixing a pot of Agrax Earthshade, Nuln oil, and a bottle of Larmian medium just to thin it all down. Looking at these guys, you can see the red. It definitely needs a second coat, so we've got that to do tomorrow. And the other benefit is tomorrow my wife is out at the spa all day, which means my son can just be glued to Minecraft while I get an entire day of painting in, which I think is a massive parenting win. I'm going to start with the Mephiston Red. Getting a second coat of this red down really did help me feel like this project was moving in the right direction, and then I immediately moved on to the Rakkar Flesh. I honestly don't think there are any purity seals on these guys. No? Okay, so what does that mean for me? Well, it means that we're just going to do the hoods of these guys. Right, okay, that's the Rakkar Flesh layer done. We can move on to the Screamer Pink, which we're also going to use as a highlight on the red areas when we get to the highlighting step. But for now, it's just the purity seals. I'm going to use this Gawthor Brown to touch in all of the leather details. The brown was another one of those tricky steps where I should have probably done it a lot sooner in the process rather than later, because I ended up having to do a lot of tidy up. That's Captain done. Onto the Rakkar Flesh, and this is predominantly these infiltrators. One hood done. Everything's just getting a second coat of Rakkar Flesh here. I have just raided my drawer, and I have two. I have Elven Flesh, 2 flesh colours, and I have Tanned Flesh. This looks like it hasn't seen great usage for a while. Silver and gold, we can go around and do very quickly actually. We're just looking for little areas like that where we've just gone over. And here we're moving into the actual tidy up phases now, where we're beginning to tidy up each of the different colour steps. And I'm going to paint in the handles. Black areas, we've got the scopes. I'm only going to touch up almost done 10 infiltrators already. 10 infiltrators done. Let's just retouch this up in silver. These ammo cases on the side. This is my grey paint, my go-to ground texture grey paint. Not texture, but my go-to ground colour. And I'm going to cover every single base with this colour. I mean, look at that already. And we're getting, the end is in sight. We're getting so close. Well, great news. I have based all of the miniatures in that number 7 grey. I'm just gonna let it dry and do the gold touch-up stuff now. Reapply some white. There'll be a white touch-up stage because I'm also going to do the inside casing of the plasmas. I don't know what I was thinking. I've just cost myself time there. It's all gone Pete Tong. However, while I get ready to get the gold going, you'll see me doing various bits of tidy up here that I have amalgamated into one little snippet for you guys, just for ease of viewing. But predominantly, we're just tidying up a lot of the metallics and chucking some contrast paints onto different areas of the bases that are like wood and different coloured rubble and stuff like that. Right, it is Sunday, which means we are on to our Caliban Green tidy up phase. After this stage, it is on with the edge highlighting. I'm just gonna use the Caliban Green. I'm just gonna tidy up. Oh my God, it is a really good match to that Renegade Green spray. Everywhere we've accidentally got a color wrong, I'm gonna just tidy up. Okay, do you know what I'm going to do before we move on is I'm going to do the purity seals. On with the Rackar Flesh for those purity seals. Boom, lovely. Now we can just chill and get the rest of the green tidy up phase done. Right, okay, so I have edge highlighted all of the green on all of the models and they're looking pretty swish so far. We've got Screamer Pink for all the red and we've got Baneblade Brown for all of the leather. And again, you can't really tell the Screamer Pink. So this might be one that I skip actually. Just try and edge highlight. There's a very thick highlight on the end of that plasma gun and you can't tell. So that's a skip, which is even better news for us because it means we've just got the Baneblade Brown. The Baneblade Brown highlights are done. They're incredibly subtle, but you can, I don't know if you're getting this on camera, but you can in person see the difference. We move on to the wash stage, and I'm going to be making my own wash by mixing equal parts of Agrax, Earthshade and Nuln Oil along with a bottom of Larmian Median. Did I say bottom or bottle? I meant to say bottle. I am just going to decant them into this handy little tiny kilner jar. Right, well, the wash has dried. Let's have a look at our jump captain here. And yeah, they're starting to look done. I think literally the last two things we've got to do is to pop a black base rim on all of them and hit them with a matte varnish and we can get into the sexy shots. The anticipation of finally showing you what I've created is immense. So yeah, final day of the project, which technically takes us into 8 days, but I had some free time. I got the matte varnish on these guys, and I have to say, I am relatively impressed with how they've turned out. Are they at the standard that I'd like them to be? No. Have I excelled in my own personal painting ability? I think yes, I think slightly. What did I do that was new? I managed to use a load of customized 3D printed parts. I used highlight colors. I used the red iconography on the Dark Angels. I didn't contrast paint almost anything. I think the only things that I used contrast paint for was the plasma coils and the glowing red eyes of each of the Dark Angels. And yeah, I think it shows. I think doing a little bit of edge highlighting using these custom sculpted 3D bases is pretty cool, and I am personally quite impressed with the results. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Please the YouTube algorithm gods, and I'll see you in the next one.